Well, the Trump administration ordered the surge of federal agents into Minnesota about a month ago because of the billion-dollar fraud scandal.
There have been several big developments this week on that front, including a visit today from the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury.
Our citizens have a right to know that their tax dollars are not being diverted to fund acts of global terror or to fund luxury cars for fraudsters.
The secretary said today he's creating a new IRS task force for fraud, among other initiatives. So Jonah Kaplan's been tracking all of this, joins us now. Jonah, obviously that was the wrong soundbite, but it was easy to miss some of this stuff this week.
Yeah, and look, you can argue about the tactics, the merits, the effectiveness of Operation Metro Surge, but there's no denying the fight against fraud remains a key sticking point in all of this. That fraud is there. Today was another example the Trump administration is all in on investigating Minnesota. It's not all about immigration. Here's video posted by the Department of Homeland Security of investigators gathering what it called mountains of evidence of unchecked fraud in the state's social programs. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent in Minnesota on Friday announced the creation of a new IRS task force on fraud and a further crackdown on money transfers overseas.
Think of the absurdity. Think of the absurdity of money being wired from Minnesota by these individuals that could have come from government programs or from excess benefits. This should not be wired out of the country, and we are going to be cracking down on that.
Our investigation found some of the suspects in the Feeding Our Future case sent millions of dollars in wire transfers overseas, including to banks in Kenya and China. But there's been no evidence of direct payments to terror groups like al-Shabaab in Somalia. Bessent's announcement also comes a day after the White House announced a new Assistant Attorney General for National Fraud Enforcement.
Minnesota is going to be the protocols, procedures, and the investigative techniques, as well as the collaboration with other agencies. Minnesota is going to be the genesis for a national rollout.
Nearly 100 people, mostly Somali Americans, have been charged in the fraud scandal. More than 60 have been convicted. DHS, meanwhile, said Friday agents have arrested more than 1,500 illegal immigrants in the last 6 weeks here, including those with lengthy criminal records. It's unclear, though, if any of them are connected to the fraud investigations. House Speaker Lisa Dameth, though, said the federal government's surging resources here is still necessary.
I think the federal government saw a problem here and recognizes the fact that Minnesota leaders for years haven't done anything, that it's been left, and it shouldn't be partisan.
A spokesman tonight for Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison said the AG categorically rejects the premise that fraud is the reason for the immigration crackdown and that Ellison stands by his record fighting fraud, and he's going to be asking the legislature for even more resources to keep fighting.
Yes, such a busy week, kind of fading to the background a bit. Thanks for the update, Jonah.